Son of a...
Well, I did it. If you haven't done it yet, eventually you're going to do it. Changing the fuel filter on this 6.7, I ended up breaking that little connector on the secondary fuel filter. It's a little tiny 1/8 inch barb fitting that sticks out of here, and it's super easy to snap that thing off. If it's cold, it's even easier to break it off, but I broke it off. So I'm gonna show you the emergency roadside fix for this, and I'm gonna show you the permanent fix for this, so you don't ever have to do it again. So in order to make this work, the first thing you have to do is wash it really good with soap and water. And then go and sand this little nub completely off so it's flat. Now I'm gonna use a sander to sand that. On an emergency roadside fix, you could just as easily take this thing and just grind it on the concrete until it's nice and flat. So the next thing I did was wrapped it in tape to keep the epoxy from getting on the lock. So now I'm gonna heat this brass barb up with this torch, and I'm going to melt it into that hole. Only gonna go down a couple of barbs. You don't wanna go too deep. And I'm going to take JB Quick, mix it up, and build up the edge of this and reinforce it so it doesn't wiggle. And then I should be able to stick my hose over that and be down the road. So that's the finished product. I think it's going to hold long enough for me to get the other piece. So I cut off this hose long enough to get rid of the barb that was broken off in there. So now I'm going to heat this up with a heat gun and then put it over my fitting. And there it is, all installed. So this repair has a little over 6,000 miles on it. This is the one that I'm talking about with the epoxy on it, or JB Weld, and the brass fitting that I melted into it. So with 6,000 miles on it, it doesn't look like it's coming apart and it's not leaking. Honestly, I think this could be a permanent fix. However, that's not how I'm gonna leave it. So I picked up this part here from Accurate Diesel. I'll leave a link in the description for this. This is the way to go. It's an all machined aluminum, made in the USA part, and it replaces that quick disconnect. All you have to do is pull the disconnect out, stick this in, a little hose clamp goes on there, and then it replaces the return line quick disconnect. It does have a little clip. It has a second clip that goes in there also, but this is going to be way stronger and way better, and it's super affordable. You can buy this for, I think it was like 28 bucks, or you can buy the entire return fuel line circuit, which is the disconnect and the hose that goes all the way back to the tank, for I think it was $290 at the dealership, and that's really your only other options. You can buy a aftermarket plastic clip. I looked at the reviews for those, and they weren't good. They said they leaked, they said they didn't go on correctly or whatever. but this for me is going to be the way to go. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on, and then I'm going to be doing the disaster prevention kit. So I'm probably going to have to take this back off anyway, but I wanted to show you how it goes on. So I'm going to try to show you the best I can what I got going on here. But you gotta push up on that red or brown, whatever color it is. Then you have to squeeze in on the sides, and then it comes right off. So that's the return line. So we're gonna pull this out. If we can get it out, you might have to cut it off because it's jammed in there pretty good. There, so we pulled it out. Then we're gonna put our little clamp over it. That is way bigger than it needs to be. They need to do better with their clamps, but it'll work. Then we're gonna stick this in the end, shove it in there good, pull this back, tighten this clamp down. Now the doodad on the end of that, the barb part, is actually pretty small because it's got to fit into an interior piece of plastic on that hose, or a heavier kind of hose. It's not just a regular single wall hose. So there, we snug that up. Remove the clip. Then we slide around there. Then we put the clip back on. Now there is a smaller clip. There's this little tiny clip here. That goes in also. And then you put the locking clip in there. It's kind of a dual clippy clip thing. I'm not gonna put either one of those in because I'm gonna be taking it out here in just a few minutes, but that's it. Now the return line is fixed forever. Now this piece, the one that I made, is gonna go into my emergency parts bag. So you never know. There might be something that happens with that one. It might leak, I might break it, who knows what might happen. Maybe I get a different fuel filter and for some reason it won't go on, I don't know. But I'm not gonna throw this away because it did hold together and it will work if I need it to work. So I'm gonna put it in my spare parts bag, and if I ever need it again in a jam or somebody else needs it on the road, I got one. So I hope that helps you in your time of need. When I broke that off, I had to get on the road, so I had to do an emergency repair, kind of wind up the noodle and figure out what I needed to do to fix that thing to get down the road. And then while I was on the road, I ordered up that other part. It came in. Now you see the permanent repair. If it helped you out, do me a favor. Click the like button down there. If you're new here, do me a favor and consider subscribing to the channel. It'll really help me out. And as always, have safe travels, and I hope to see you on the road.